Which one are they going to use?
I don't know.
Welcome.
Welcome.
To another
episode.
Drive It to the Reds.
Reds.
Your favorite hosts, Inelia
And Larry. We're back, honey.
Yeah. I'm feeling a little bit dizzy.
Yeah, because you've had
I probably need a little more sleep.
I think so. I think you need more sleep and more rest. And here comes Phoebe.
Peeper, peeper.
You can hear her going.
Yeah, she knows it's time to do our recording.
Yeah. Hi, Phoebe.
Phoebe, coming up or do the recording? Yeah, you're going to come record?
Oh, what a good girl.
Come on.
She's like, pick me up, don't pick me up.
Pick me up, but I really don't like being picked up.
No.
Okay, well, we'll wait a little while until she gets very desperate.
Yeah, and here comes Romeo.
Everybody wants to.
Everybody wants you now. Clunk, 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 clunk. What would you like to talk about today?
Well, pancakes, bacon, and eggs.
Ooh.
That sounds good. And diners. With diner coffee, you know, the big thick mug that only holds about half of a cup because it's so thick.
Oh.
It's a little bit heavy.
Yeah.
But
before we do that,
what?
I wanted to remind everybody that we have a class coming up here in August. And the class is about...
Well, you say it's coming up in August. It is August.
Yes.
It's coming up in like a week.
Yes.
Well, I don't know how many days it is.
It's on the 24th of August.
Okay, however many days that is.
Or maybe 25th. I don't know. You guys have to check the calendar.
It's the 24th. It's like in a weekish.
And it's the healthy and mystical ways of self-sufficiency.
It's how to become self-sufficient in a healthy and mystical world. Something like that.
Ways.
Well, the title is... We worked on the title. So it's titled by committee.
Titled by committee.
And the title by committee is very nice. And it's also slightly, I'm not going to say misleading.
I wouldn't say misleading either. Jeez.
But
people get what they pay for, honey.
But when I say it's slightly misleading, I don't mean... What I mean is that you read the title and you have and know what you think that means. Almost everyone knows what that means. What does it mean to become self-sufficient? We know. We have already defined that. I'm not going to tell you. If you don't go to the class, you're never going to know. You just go on being completely perfect in your idea what self-sufficient is. That's all.
Okay, honey.
No mystery there.
So anyways, you can get that class by subscribing to Subscribestar. And also the last 3 months classes that are there. And then also you can get it from Walk With Me Now. Subscribe there. And if you don't like subscriptions, you can get it from the store at ineliabenz.com after the class it has been recorded. So you can download the recording. The class, of course, if you're subscribed to Subscribestar or Walk With Me Now, you get to ask questions and you also get the question and answer section at the end of it. Yeah. So that's the exciting parts. And it's all about self-sufficiency and, the healthy and mystical ways of becoming self-sufficient. It's pretty awesome. We're looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All the data from the universe, if you want to call it that, slowly siphoning in through various ways, like, what about that?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's kind of nice when that's going on.
Yeah, it is.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
So, back to bacon and eggs, pancakes at a diner with a big thick mug.
I have a mug of coffee.
You have a nice mug.
Yes.
A double-walled mug that I've learned since the last batch. Don't stir them very quickly. And don't wash them very well.
Mine has an eagle.
Yeah.
Right? I'm showing on the camera in case you're listening. My mug, and it's got an eagle on it.
It's like a double-walled Pyrex.
I thought it was glass.
Pyrex is a form of glass.
Is it? Didn't know that.
Or a manufacturer is very thin-walled and double up.
So it keeps it
warm. And it doesn't become very heavy like those diner mugs.
Mm-hmm. So what do you want to talk about diners?
Well, there was a thread coming in as it was coming in, we kind of jumped off the track of that one. But I'm going to try and jump back onto the track of that one. There's a couple of 3 things in there. One of them is, if you're in the U.S. and you think of that, generally
you have a memory, don't you?
You have a memory. You have a conception of where you see that, where you find that. Here it would be like Denny's restaurant or Pancake Waffle House or something like that.
It's funny you say that because every time I think of a diner, I think of a diner in Sacramento that I went to a few times.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just as you come into Sacramento, downtown, and it's right next to Old Sac.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's a Denny's, is it? That's how you say it?
Denny's? Yeah.
Denny's?
Yeah.
It's one of those. To me, the diners are not exactly delicious, but...
Well, that's the thing, is that there's
familiarity.
There's a pattern, there's something here, a thread here, and I think it relates to a lot of things, and it has to do with when we begin to identify the programs that we're carrying with us.
Mm-hmm.
And we identify them and we realize something. It's like, where did that and how did they get placed there?
Mm-hmm.
So how did Denny's get in the place of pancakes, bacon, eggs, and a big thick mug of coffee? Sure, I've had it there before, but it isn't, honestly, you go there and have it and you go like, well, that's kind of like a facsimile of what it was that I have in my memory bank.
Mm-hmm.
My memory bank has this thick, fluffy pancake,
mm-hmm.
with butter on it and the syrup. And, you take a bite of it and it's got little lines of structure inside of it. It makes it kind of sturdy, puffy. Mm-hmm. And you eat that and you go, my God, that's good. And the bacon is, reasonably thick, reasonably not
crispy,
over the top. It's just bacon like bacon.
Mm-hmm.
You see it on the TV, maybe.
Mm-hmm. And
the eggs, of course, they're orange and they resemble the ones we had in England, but a little bit yellower. Because the English eggs are very orange. The Denny's eggs are going to be yellow for sure,
Yeah. Hi, baby. She's back. Hi, baby. Good girl. Oh, she made it.
There, she made it. Okay, there's our debut.
Yeah, she made it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, are you plunking on the mic? Sorry, baby. Okay, there you go.
Oh, she's happy now. All right, so
the memory
mm-hmm.
that is in place when I think of those things is of a thing.
And it's very personal because you said delicious, you said the word fluffy, you said the word, yellow eggs.
Yeah, and the bacon is crispy, not too bad, bacon. Nice salt to it.
Yeah,
and the coffee isn't like Starbucks where it's like you drink it and you go, ooh, I drank a cup of something. It's strong. It has sometimes bitter or bite or anything. It's the kind of coffee that kind of tastes like hot water. And it's brown. Brown hot water. You could drink 10 cups and you'd still sit there. You're just going to make you jump up and down. You could just be like, yep, I got a cup of coffee. Oh, have a sip. And it never gets cold, really.
Yeah.
Because the cup doesn't really hold very much. And it's so thick, it just sort of like has momentum.
Yeah.
Those are the memories. And then I go there and I sit there sometimes because those memories are like implanted somehow.
Yeah.
Although, I've had those things in my life. I don't know that I've actually had all of those things sitting in one place at the same time.
Right.
They might be little chunks of it.
Yeah.
But somehow or other, Denny's grabbed those and put them into one place and called them, this is where you get those.
Yeah.
And you go sit down to get that and it's not what you order at all.
What did you get instead?
Well, pancakes are generally, they're not thick.
Yeah.
And they're kind of flat.
Flat.
Yeah. And the butter is a little bit half butter, half margarine.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like it stays the same wrong color forever.
Yeah.
And put it on there and it sometimes melts and sometimes it kind of don't because sometimes they came fast, sometimes they didn't. Yeah, and the bacon is never warm and it's always just super, it's like pressed together pieces of bacon.
Yeah.
It's not really a piece of bacon. If it is a piece of bacon, it's so frickin' teensy weensy. It's like, what the heck happened to that? You get 10 pieces of bacon to make one. Yeah, and the coffee, it tastes like city water.
Yeah. Ooh, gross.
It has the city water back taste.
Yeah.
And I don't know what we left. The eggs.
Ooh, yeah. Don't eat eggs at Denny's.
Yeah, I should have got scrambled eggs. But if you get scrambled eggs, they're even worse. So
they're like plasticky kind of chewy things that are,
right,
God knows what they are.
that memory and this memory, they don't match. But I keep going back anyway,
thinking you're gonna
thinking
get the
it's
first.
gonna happen again.
Yes.
And it never ever does.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like Denny's was never been my first option, and I've never had anything that I liked in a Denny's ever.
Well, they have the word moons over my hammy, so that's a ham and egg sandwich.
Okay.
But it has a great name. So when we have, like, said, forget it, we ain't getting pancakes and bacon and eggs, it ain't gonna work. We can just say we'll go get moons over my hammy because it has a clever name.
Mm-hmm.
And ham and cheese is ham and egg and cheese sandwich is universally also one of those memories you can have. Although, for me, not as, solid as the pancake one. Ham and egg sandwich, it's at least on the radar. But again, don't even bother ordering it.
Oh no,
it doesn't match your memory. That's the same thing with some of the ads you have on the TV. It shows this hamburger, this whatever, that looks so delicious and juicy.
Or even when you go to like a place and it has a picture of a hamburger, it's all fluffy and big and beautiful, and then you get this little flat thing, all squishy and
gray
and like the lettuce is all dead and like
yeah,
they're a bit different. The picture.
It seems to me too that this has gone on and gotten more and more pronounced as time has gone on. That the
memory,
the stimulated memory and the
reality
are further and further apart as time goes on. I don't know if that's a function of us getting older, more refined taste buds, or more awareness, or what. But it's certainly true.
It is true. Yeah.
That has become more apparent. And then I've seen some places have taken that somehow, that memory of what they're selling you, and have made the image and the thing that they deliver look the same even. Like at Wendy's when they had that giant fish cod sandwich thing.
Oh yeah, they make
the
it
picture in
big.
the picture in the sandwich looked the same.
Wow.
But
didn't taste the same.
There was still something missing.
I think it's nutrition what's missing.
But it's a giant piece of cod.
Yeah, but it's nutrition that's missing. It's all dead, all that stuff. I don't know what they do to it, but anything that I've ever eaten from a fast food restaurant, or a diner for that matter, like a chain diner, is dead. It's just dead. There's no food or nurturing of anything there. There's it just fills a gap, and then the gap continues to want to be filled because there's nothing nutritious in it. That's what I found. And I think that feeling of I'm not getting what I saw. It's like your eyes see nutrition and food and everything, and then when you put it in your body, it's just fluff and it's gone. So that's how I feel about it. There's no anything inside it, And people, like, I can't remember who it was that said it, that in the US there's more starvation and famine than anywhere else on the planet, and it translates into people overeating because there's no nutrition in their food, so they're starving to death. They're just bulking up with fat, but because they're starving. And when I looked at that, I thought, yeah, that kind of makes sense to me. But I think there's like that disconnect. But I was really interested in what you said about the programming part.
Right,
you're
that's where I want
programmed
to
in
go.
one way, and you expect something, and you carry on going back to it, thinking you're going to get that, even though you haven't got it ever, even maybe.
Yes, I know. So I want to figure out how that program got placed, how they took advantage of that program.
Who's they?
The Denny's.
Uh-huh.
And how to break it. Those are three questions that I would have. Another one I want to add is that I don't know if you know, or if you've noticed, I'm sure you must have, but there are sometimes, rare, but sometimes that you'll find one of those restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking of a McDonald's in Squim.
We're throwing about a lot of names out here.
Oh, you're not supposed to say it. Well, I went there. Well, there are some places where the food is actually alive.
Yes, I
and
remember
I
that.
don't know
Yeah.
what it is in
Before,
particular about one place, and
yeah.
I haven't been there in so long. I don't know if it's still true.
But I remember because I know that nowadays we can't really have McDonald's or any of those because they're full of those nanobots and bio meats,
Geoengineered meat stuff and
yeah, and all
bioengineered
sorts
this and
of
that.
things, and
No matter the ingredients, they cannot magic it back in.
No,
or
because
liven it back or
no,
something.
but no, it's just it harms you. It's like actively harms you, and it just tastes wrong, right? It's like they've done something in the past 2.5 years where it's just not good. It's really, really bad, and it tastes bad. And before that, we did go to...
I'm talking about years ago.
Yeah, when we used to go to Squim, if we were there when we were hungry...
Once in a while.
We would stop and get one of those, and it was extraordinary.
It was, it's like, I don't know what it is about this particular one. Everything is clean and alive and tastes really
good,
delicious. It's
even though they buy the ingredients
everything
in bulk, right? But it was indeed different, and I think that's when the human factor comes in, right? The human factor comes in, and it just changes everything. So I had a friend the other day say, "Hey, I went to that place, beat up the something the beat."
Oh yeah, turn up the beat.
Yeah, turnip the beat.
Turnip the beat.
And we've been there, we haven't been there in years, but we used to go there quite regularly. Their food was fresh and alive, and the owners worked there.
And the owners were there. They fused their energy in it.
Yeah, it was really.
They were there
food.
because they really loved having
good food,
good something different food. Yes. Existing downtown, they really like. I have it,
and a lot of it was
store
organic,
downtown, and I got organic, and I got lamb, and I got real ingredients, and and I got fresh, local, and wild, and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, it was really.
Anyways, one of our friends went there and was very enthusiastic about it because he hadn't been there before. He's heard us talk about it years ago. And he went to see the menu. Of course, the menu is very and not familiar at all because they have all these special names. They have all their own dishes. Mm-hmm. And he asked the lady behind the counter. He said, "Well, what's your favorite? What do you recommend?" And she said, "Oh, I don't eat this type of food." And he was like, "What?
What type of food is this?"
I know. So he just figured it out, ordered something, and he said it just didn't taste right. It just tasted disconnected, and just bits of lettuce with bits of cheese with bits of whatever's, and it wasn't at all nice, right? And I think the human factor is really, really important.
I think you're right. I think that's nailing it, because I do remember too when I went to New York, it was basically ghost town. And I went to the finest restaurants and the most desirable places and whatever. Anywhere we wanted to go, we just walk right in.
Yeah.
And we sat and ate. And when we ate things in some of those places, they were alive. They were definitely alive. And that food was, what is this? And this isn't like unusual food. It's just like, oh, here's a piece of pizza. It's like, what is this? I don't recognize this. And Scotch foods or whatever. Anyway, the places that I went, that wasn't the hotel. Mm-hmm. The hotel didn't count. Their food was not alive, but the places that we went to eat, we had all went.
These are places that normally have a 2-year waiting list.
Yeah.
But you could just walk in.
It was pretty awesome. But they were guided to, goes here. It was one of those synchronistic voyages where you go on a trip and you just allow what happens to happen, and you follow your niggles and you enjoy your time less directed and more
going with the flow, guided
with intuition.
Maybe? Yeah, intuition.
Yeah. Also adding in occasional, I really, really want to go check this place out, Dad. One of those places too.
Yeah.
The funny thing was that places,
Because you went with your daughter, right?
Yeah, the places that we went that she wanted to try because she'd heard of, they were a bit flat. But the intuition guided places where there's a pizza in the wall, it was like, wow, I haven't ever had pizza this good.
Yeah.
But the guys there, they didn't feel like they were there because this is where I work.
Right.
They were there because this is where I exist. This is where I embody my energy, my frequency, my whatever it is. I am this. This is my food.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the ones where it was more of like, I got rent.
Mm-hmm.
And you gotta work.
Right.
So what do? I do this, cook this stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
And,
very different, isn't it?
Very different energy, very different taste, very different.
Your dog seems to be going up and down the room all the time.
That one's your dog.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
My dog seems to be walking around the room a lot.
I got your other dog calm. I think he wants to be on the couch too.
Yeah.
Maybe make a space for him right there.
He won't fit on. I mean, we both move out of the couch, maybe.
Yeah. So, the food that you taste.
Yeah.
And the individuals making it, their energy, their frequency, their purpose.
I think their allowance
something.
of connection. Yeah. It's either connected or disconnected. I remember when I talked about having done the sun gazing for 6 months, very diligently every single day. And then one day I got to decide to do the sun gazing, and I have the knowledge and the knowledge and the message that if I don't want to eat ever again, I don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that?
I do.
And then when I looked at that timeline, I noticed that food wasn't so much about, to me personally, about nourishment, but it was like of a physical vitamins and whatever's, and it was very much about connection with the human collective and Gaia. And I decided, it's really hard for me to connect with the human collective and Gaia as it is, because I'm very fluffy, airy, kind of ethereal. Ethereal. And if I stop eating, that's going to be like physicality. Then that's going to be even worse. And yeah, it's not something that I would advise for myself. So I said, no, I really like strawberries and chocolate. And I just saw myself cooking for the family and sitting down and eating with them, And I decided, no, I'll pass. Maybe I'll revisit another time, but for now I will pass because of the connection. So to me, when a person who's cooking is highly connected, happy and highly connected to what they're doing, they not infuse it because there's not their energy in the food, but it's the connection between the human collective, Gaia, and the matter that is made of, the food is made of. It's all kind of gels together, right? There's a connection. And then when you eat it, you are also connecting.
It's sort of like when you go hug someone that you don't know or maybe are not especially fond of, but you hug them anyway because everybody's hugging everybody goodbye or something, and you're like, that connection versus the one where it's your long lost whatever and you haven't seen her forever and you're just like super fond and you give a hug and it's actually a hug. The difference.
Yeah,
it's
probably,
like that.
Yeah.
That's the food hug.
Yeah, a food hug.
Yeah. So you get a food hug from some people. You don't get a food hug from other people. You get a food. I'm not even going to shake your hand.
Right. Or like nod with a growl. Yeah. But I'm more interested. I mean, I can understand, and I know that that's important to realize and to seek out, and also generate a connection with your food, right? But what I'm more interested in is the actual programming part that can sneak in and lead you in a life that, disappoints, let's say, over and over, but you don't drop the programs. And you go back to that same program over and over. I mean, I've seen plenty of people who, the ones that most people are familiar with, they have the same relationships, like a marriage or a boyfriend, girlfriend. And it just circles around the same thing over and over and over again. And then, they wonder why nothing's ever working, or why all men are the same, or all women are the same, or the same job, they get a job and they have like a really bad relationship with their boss, so they go move to a different job, same thing, different job, same things, and it's that pattern. It's almost like the program's there. They go and eat at that restaurant, and they know that it's not the same. It's not what they expected, and it's not what they expected or what I'd want, right?
Honestly, at this point, when I sit down at the table, I know it ain't going to be what I want, but I'm going to give one more try.
Or that.
I'm pretty sure I'm going to be disappointed. I'm pretty sure this isn't going to match what I want, but
I'll try it again.
I'll try one more time. This is a different one. Maybe this one's okay.
But that's part of that program,
it's
right?
That program, yeah. It's like,
just
I already know I'm going to be dissatisfied. I already know this ain't going to work out.
Just go to a different
I'm going to do it
restaurant.
anyway because, I gotta.
Yeah. So, that's the difference, right? So I'm interested in that. How come that happens and people insist over and over again to do the program that they can see that hasn't been working for them? So
they're going to do it again anyway.
Yeah, like you said, I'm going to try one last time. Maybe this time. Maybe this time it's going to work.
Eternal optimist, we call it.
Yeah.
Or eternal pessimist. I know this ain't going to work. I'm doing it anyway.
The last time we went to Denny's, we were
oh my God,
traveling. We were hungry, we were tired, it was late, it was the only place that was open.
Can it please be what it's supposed to be?
And you said, let's go to Denny's. There's a Denny's down the road. And I said, I don't think so. And you said, it's going to be good, come on. And like that, it's going to be good, come on. So we went there and we saw the menu and I'm like, oh, no, I don't think so. I think I'll pass, just have a glass of water, thank you very much.
Like, you could tell by the feel of the menu even.
Yeah,
it's like,
it's sticky,
oh dear, it's sticky.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'll just have a glass of water, thank you. And you insisted and you got 3 or 4 or 5 things, like you like to order 3 or 4 or 5 meals.
Because I just can't decide.
And then they brought all the meals over and you had a bite of each, I think, and then you went, I can't do this.
None of it's okay.
And I couldn't drink the water because, like you said, it tasted like city. It's horrible. So it's like, okay, so what can we do? We just went home. I think we went to the supermarket. We bought bread. We bought meats and things. We made sandwiches. Yeah.
I think that's what we did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what is that?
Well, I do know one thing. I do remember as I go to a restaurant now, instead of just thinking of the food that's inside, I connect with the people inside a little bit and see if this is a connection type place. And I'm using those words now because we're using those words in this talk. I wouldn't say that I literally do that before. I don't use those words to describe what it was, but what I would do is I stop outside of it and I scan
the frequency of the place.
That's another way that you would say it. What I would say before we talked about this was I would feel the experience that I would be having. Oh. So I stop there and feel, is this going to satisfy what I actually am after? Mm-hmm. I gotta say, when I actually do that, oftentimes than not, I just end up driving straight home and not pick up anything. I go like, nope, not here, nope, not here, nope, not here, nope, not here. Yeah. Everywhere I go through town, I don't stop anywhere. Yeah. Even though I'm hungry, I'm like, well, I guess I'll go home. And
when you don't listen, like the other day when you went to KFC and you didn't listen to no, that's not... You even nearly drove away and you didn't. And then went in and
it's the opposite feeling than what I was after, let's just say. Yeah.
Sometimes you do it anyway.
I just do it anyway.
So that's very interesting because you know it, right? You know the program's there. You know that even when you scan it, it's not going to be a good experience, but you do it anyway. So what's going on?
Well, it has to do with consequences. Mm-hmm. So for me, the consequences of being wrong are negligible. It's just like, big surprise. It wasn't what it was supposed to be.
Well, you got tummy ache and sick after that one, though.
Well, that's no big deal.
You don't care about
I don't care about that. But one other time I pulled up to a restaurant, remember, and you scanned it, and we even walked in the door, And when we got in and I was looking around, I kind of had this feeling of foreboding, but also a feeling of we're committed ourselves to an action, so we have to carry through with it.
Oh my God,
And
yes.
you said that we have to leave.
We have to leave.
We have to leave right now, actually.
Yeah.
We cannot not only not order food, we have to leave.
I didn't cross the threshold. I just stood outside. You went in.
I said, it looks okay.
Outside. Yeah, you said, it's fine. It looks
fine.
nice.
Looks fine.
Yeah, I said,
that's when we first were getting together, too.
Nope. I'm not going in there. Let's find somewhere else. I said, everywhere else is closed. This is the only place that's open. I said, I don't care. I'll starve. I'm not going in there.
I had, this was one of my first exposures to listening to Diggles and guidance and, you know, like going to look for a place to eat. I mean, generally speaking, if you're with somebody else and you pull up to a restaurant, you're both either like, one's like, hey, how about this one? And you're like, oh, pizza or whatever. That's the normal line is like, pizza, sure. Okay, they have pizza here. Okay, let's walk in.
Yeah.
You know, here we're like, oh, there's pizza. Does that sound good? Yeah, pizza sounds good. Okay, here we're here. Oh, I can't go in there. We don't know. We ain't ordered nothing. If I eat anything from there, I'm gonna die. I'm like, what? Okay, we ain't going in there then. It's like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
So what was your process?
Frequencies. It was like, it's just frequencies. And remember that nothing can happen to you on the planet without your agreement, right? And I knew that if I went into that building, I was going to come out feet first. I just knew it. It was just knowledge. I knew this. So it's like, no, not going in there. Not going to happen. And it felt, to you, I know I understand that because it was one of the first, you know, maybe not the first, but it was one of those learning moments of that it's very unusual.
There's no logical nothing I can put my finger on. It's like
nothing physical you can put your finger on it, you know, and say, yeah.
Kind of like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
But
okay, so you stepped out and we left.
Yeah, I said, all right, we'll starve then.
Yeah, and we did.
And we did starve.
For like 2 hours.
A full 2 hours, you know. First world problem.
First world problem, yes.
You'll survive, trust me.
And then what happened?
Less than a week later, that restaurant, it was
in the news.
In the news, and the front page of the Port Angeles paper. Mm-hmm. That was a father and son operation.
Yeah.
And the son was an absolute nut job, and he'd stabbed and killed his father.
I thought he shot him. Yeah.
Shot him and stabbed him. He did everything.
Yeah. Just random.
And they arrested him. He said, why'd you do that? It's like, I was bored.
Yeah.
He didn't have a reason. He was just...
bored.
Bored.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So, clearly that boy had a giant open door, and that open door was going to be used.
Oh, yes.
On you instead of
Absolutely.
someone else. But it was going to be used on someone.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So, at that point, I was like, okay, I'll believe you.
Yes.
That's amazing. And I noticed it too when we go to restaurants, order things in, especially when we first got together. There was an insidious plan to put bell peppers and blue cheese in all of your food, no matter what you said. Yes. Even if it doesn't belong in there.
Yeah, blue cheese and bell peppers.
Even if there has never ever been blue cheese or never ever been bell peppers in that recipe or that food or in the normal recipe.
Yeah.
Somehow when you get it, it'll be garnished with it, or it'll be chopped up and put in it, or they'll be using some
yes.
Or they'll have just sliced them up with their knife.
Yeah.
And don't bother wiping it. Now into your food.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's and insane. I can usually tell the ones that are more clearly. I mean, what do? Right, I scan the restaurant and I scan the kitchen, and I find any addicts. Right, I feel the energy of addiction in the kitchen, and I know that I have to check my food really carefully because addicts are possessed. They have open doors to negativity and to negative fields in the human collective and on Earth. And if it's not going to kill me, most of that stuff won't kill me. It's going to make it very unpleasant for the next day or so, right? So just disable me for a while. I mean, some ingredients will kill me. But anyways, so with those restaurants, I am very careful. Sometimes we go into a restaurant and I scan the kitchen and there's no addicts, and that's unusual. But sometimes it happens, and with those ones, I don't even look at the food. I order anything, I tell them about peppers or blue cheese, and they come back. I just eat it. Mm-hmm. It's perfect. But most of the time, there's addicts in the kitchen. And at those times, I have to be very, very careful.
And once in a while, like where you were in Sacramento, you found a restaurant that was generally okay, that Bella Brew one?
Yeah, a couple of them. There was a cafeteria called Bella Brew down the street. And yes, I could trust that one. They didn't have addicts in the kitchen. At one point, somebody did come in, and then I was careful. Mm-hmm. And then they left. And then...
It's probably the kitchen environment either supports addicts or it's absolutely rejects them.
Yeah, probably, because that one rejected it, yeah. That was in the Thomas in Sacramento. I don't know what it's like these days, but when I lived there 8 years or 10 years ago, whenever it was like that. And then another one was a restaurant downtown. It's part of a chain of restaurants in the United States. It's called Il Fornell. And
what is it called?
Il Fornell. Fornell. Il Fornell is the oven in Italian. I'm probably butchering the accent, but the pronunciation. And it's part of a chain, but the one that was downtown Sacramento, they had a really good staff. Again, there were no addicts in that staff. There was an alcoholic in the bar, but there was no addicts in the so I didn't have any drinks. But in the restaurant it was good. And I would just come in, I order, and after a while they knew us really well, and they knew I didn't even have to say no bell peppers. They just knew. Mm-hmm. And it was so good, and then the waiter that we had, for years. Also, that's a sign. People stay there for years, working for years in these places. I remember once they had a new dish, and I said, oh yeah, I want to try the new dish. And he looked at me and he said, no, you don't. You're not going to like it. And I looked at him and I said, are you sure? He said, let me bring you a little taste. And he got me a little taste of the sauce or whatever. And I tried it. It's horrible. I said, I told you, I know what you like. And I knew you weren't going to like this one. It's okay, I'll have something else then. And then he said, I recommend the blah blah. So yeah. So that's the type of restaurants that are alive and they don't have those people and everything. And, I'm not working from a place, usually, unless I'm very tired, I'm not working from a place of programs or a place that ignores your knowings, right? Because mm-hmm. when you let's go back to the programming part, you think you're going to get that juicy burger, but you get a flat, chewy thing.
And you keep going back anyway.
And you keep going back anyways. You're working from a place of reaction. And even though you know that is not what the picture shows, you still go back to it. So that's what is interesting to mm-hmm. me. And even though you had a foreboding energy when you went into that place with that pizza place, you still said, yeah, it's fine. We're hungry. We're going to eat here. Right? So that's what I'm interested in, how come that happens and why people do that. Because everybody has that intuition. Everybody has that guidance. And everybody even has the experience. I've been to 10,000 different Danny's or Denny's. Mm-hmm. And I'm still never been satisfied with that stuff they serve me. But they go back, So that's what interests me, because that is also relevant to people's lives, not just in restaurants, but, the food they buy or the shows they watch or the streaming services they're subscribed to, the relationships they get into, the work they go and do. It's almost, it's like that. It reminds me also of people like they've already spent $90,000 on a college degree, and they know that that's not what they want, and they're unhappy with it. But because they already spent $90,000 on it, they finished spending $180,000 to finish this degree, and then they're very unhappy working at their career, right? So there's something.
It's kind of like you're committed to it. I think it's
a program.
It's a
committed
persistence.
To the program, persistence, and
it's a persistence.
Yeah, that fascinates me because that's in my work. I'm trying to get people out of those, like loops. get them out of those loops, because what do they want when they come to do the Ascension 101 course, or when they want to do the Reconnection with Money exercise, or whatever it is that they come to ineliabenz.com? What is it that they want? They want out of those loops, as far as I can see.
Right, whatever loop that has been persistent.
Poverty, for example.
It's like,
or whatever.
Yeah,
it's a loop.
It's a loop.
Right? So what is it that keeps them there? That's fascinating to me.
Well, I tend to think it has to do with basically when I just follow him through, it feels related to taking advantage of the current in the river to some degree, which means the nature of our reel is a persistent reel that has a memory and a future that's trajectory through time. And to achieve that, there needs to be persistence to things. They don't just disappear. They don't just stop existing. They don't just instantly change colors. They don't just come in and then leave. They're here and they stay here until over some period of time, long time, short time, but time, they can dissolve back into their origins, but it's not instant. And it might even be longer than you live, but it's persistence through time, and not change without the application of force of some form. And the force that's applied is, I believe they use the word entropy, or environmental impact, or individual human scrunch it up, or, somebody chew it up, but it doesn't just disappear. So the persistence in persistence in this reality that we exist, that persistence, I won't say hijacked, but I would say piggybacked with the other stuff. So in other words, you're piggybacking the persistence with repeating a thing that is still not doing what it's somehow you think it's supposed to do, right? It's like, how come it isn't working this time? It has to work. It's like, this thing should be this, and there's no reason for it not to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it might have related to that. So if you know already that persistence is a part, then you can have that. Well, hijacked is usually a negative thing, but you can also use it to your advantage, right?
And how would you
create
use
a
that?
habit. You create a habit that supports you and those around you.
Mm-hmm.
A habit
do you have an example?
Well, for example, I have a habit of bringing back from my fishing trip the extra fish that we can't sell, and distributing them around me, my community, and those whose attention comes to me. Mm-hmm. That's a supportive habit. Mm-hmm. So it's more work at a time where you already are tired and oftentimes exhausted, right? And it's not when you're done at your fishing trip, the last thing you want to do is mess around with more fish.
Right. Cut a fish,
fish gone, go away. Okay, over with fish now. Yes. Go do something else. Take a shower maybe. Yes. So packing fish, putting them in ice, putting that ice and that heavy fish in your truck or your car, and it sloshes around and it makes your car smell like fish. And then taking it to where there's people, and then giving them the fish is okay, but most oftentimes the ones who need the fish brought to them are also to help us to clean it or cut it or run it or all the stuff too. So there's like another job there. If you have a community of people, you need to can it or freeze it or vacuum pack it. And if you do the job by yourself, everybody appreciates it, of course. Yeah. But again, that's one more job on top of a job on top of a job. And at some point that creates those debts where you've done all this stuff for everyone at the sacrifice of yourself.
Right. When you start,
it's never going to end well.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
So altering that in some way to enjoy and join the process with others, so they receive and give at the same time. Mm-hmm. And I guess putting it together like that seems, I don't know, it's probably better.
Yeah. Yeah, it is better.
I'm not going to guarantee anything until I see the consequences.
Right.
It might just be better. What did last night? We drove all the way home and we left our salmon on the back. And the color says, "Just give it to somebody, please."
Just
I can't drive another hour.
We did anyways.
Yes, we did.
But we didn't get a fish.
No, we didn't.
Yeah.
It was quite funny.
It was, yeah.
So, I guess long and short of the gist of all that, I think it's important to recognize when you're going along with the way that nature of reality is set up, and when those things are supporting you, when those things are maybe leading you down the wrong path. You're smart enough to realize no matter how many times you go to Denny's,
it's not going
to be what you think it's going to be.
Right.
Okay, wait. There might be one. There may be. It's possible there's some on the planet owned by high frequency somebody very wonderful, had the same idea and bought one and then found that the stuff isn't it and adjusted the ingredients and the staff and everything else and maybe even the hours so that they do have things on the menu that match what it is that they thought they were going to be. There might be one. I'm going to hold out a tiny bit of hope.
Right.
So far I haven't found it. And I think that if we ever stop at one, we can, before we go in, just scan the way that I do it, which is how am I going to feel when I get out, and see if that matches the one see if that matches the feeling that we're after.
Yeah.
So instead of matching the food type or match the feeling we want to experience.
Yeah. How would I feel? The
feeling I want to experience. This is the feeling I want to experience. Mm-hmm. What is it? Is this going to be met in here?
Yeah.
We could try that. That'd be a good experiment. It'd be interesting to hear other people do that and if it works for them. Mm-hmm. So sometimes, when you do it, you kind of come to that inevitable question. Mm-hmm. Did I foresee the future or create the future?
Right.
So if I foresee this is going to be perfect and excellent in here, is that me?
Right.
Or is it them?
Yeah.
Am I the one?
Yeah.
Or they the one? Or is it we who created it? And
you could create it by agreeing to green, even though you had a bad vibe about it. That's how you could create it.
Well, if, for example, I read the energy of the place or read the experience, the feeling from this experience, what will it be? And then go in and have the experience and see what it's going to be. Can you go in, having done that, have a different experience? Do you think they're going to match, or do you think that the experiences are going to, because you've looked, now you're going to work hard to make sure it isn't that? Mm-hmm. All those, there's so many variables involved. Yeah. What do you think? Mm-hmm. So here's the setup.
Okay, here's the setup.
We pull up to, let's say, Jack in the Box. I never, ever, ever had a good meal there.
Right.
I don't even bother trying.
Okay.
If we go through the drive-thru there, not we, my daughter or my son wants to go there for something, I don't even order.
Right.
It's not even worth it. It's not worth even trying. I get totally give up.
Yeah.
So if I keep scanning these ones as we go by them, and I find one that has good, and I stop and I go try it out, see if it ends up being good. Mm-hmm. Would you go along with that experiment?
Yeah.
At a Jack in the Box?
I've never been to one, so I don't know.
Okay.
Or maybe I have. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know.
Well, it was an experiment, and the other experiment is also to, let's pick a restaurant that we really like, and then, one that we've generally had good experiences at, and then see if it comes out. This one is, the feeling isn't going to match, it's not that great, and then we go try it and see if it's also not great. Yeah. I mean, that would be...
Not very good to do.
Well, it wouldn't be bad, because what we're trying to do is, with the neutral, going in, neutral, I'm open to experiencing whatever the experience is.
Right.
I'm not going to try to prejudge, to make it match my scene. I just want to see if that happens.
So, experimenting to see if your scenes are correct or something? I don't understand what are you trying to achieve here.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if these intuitions of how the experience is going to be match how the experience is by using a restaurant that I know and I already prejudge is terrible.
Yeah.
I've never had a good one. So when I go, I'm gonna keep
optimism,
trying.
And here goes the optimism.
Listen. It may be a year or 2 or 10, I don't know. But every time we go buy one, I'm gonna quick scan it. If we're also hungry, not if I'm not hungry. If we're also hungry, I'm gonna quick scan, say, good experience, bad. This experience gonna match, good. And if I get a yes, if I get a hit, it's like, oh, we got to go try this Jack in the Box. I get a good feeling. Yeah. I guess we'll call it that. Yeah. I get a good feeling about this.
I had a friend who, when she used to come to visit, would have to go out of our way to go to Jack in the Box.
Oh, man.
And she liked the milkshakes they had there. Mm-hmm. And she said it was the best milkshakes on the planet.
Really?
Yeah. And then when I remember we went out of our way to go to Jack in the Box, she got her milkshake and then she looks at me and she said, never eat the food here.
Yes.
Never have the food here. Just have the milkshake. And I mean, I didn't try it.
She didn't try it out.
Because I got the feeling that, I mean, the milkshakes in these fast restaurants, from living in Europe, I knew that they've been made illegal over there because they added antifreeze or God knows what into it. Some sort of chemical that was
stops it from getting hard.
To melting, Stops it from melting.
Oh, stops it from melting too?
Yeah, or something. I can't remember what it was, but it was bad. And they banned those McDonald's milkshakes in Europe and everything. It was really bad. So yeah, I kind of avoid milkshakes from those ones. If I have a milkshake, I'll have it from a mom and pop, burger place or diner or
some place where they actually get the ice cream out of the thing.
Yeah, they get the ice cream, put it into the machine.
Put a little bit of milk in there and then...
Yeah, exactly. One of those. But yeah, it was really funny though that she actually said that, even though she would go out of the way to get that milkshake. Never try the food here. Do not eat the food here. Like, wow, okay.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
Here's another strange thing.
People love it.
And it's specifically about Jack in the Box. I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's true or not, but I saw a documentary on it.
Oh, you did?
It's a documentary. They were wanting to find out why their tacos were so popular.
Oh, the tacos. Okay.
Remember, they have 3 tacos for $1 or some number like that.
Yeah.
And you look at the picture and you go, "What the heck is that?
Yeah,
that is not a taco.
It does not look good.
It does not look good at all.
Oh no, or like a taco.
So I succumbed to the curiosity. It's like, okay, I'll try. I mean, everybody loves them so much. I'll try it. I tried one and I couldn't even eat it.
I remember that thing.
Not even
I was there.
I got an iron gut sometimes. I could eat a Twinkie for God's sakes, but I could not finish or even eat half of or even past 2 bites of that taco.
Yeah, I remember that. And you said, I don't know why. I mean, it's in the news that these are so popular and this and that and the other. I don't understand. I can't even eat it.
I think what you told me is you have to be drunk.
Yeah, I think you have to be drunk to eat this.
That makes sense. Because they're famous for them at night, after midnight.
Yeah.
It's after midnight food.
Yeah.
If you're drunk enough, then they're good.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like, well, that's not me.
Yeah.
Well, it kind of goes along the thing. It's like, something peculiar here.
And how come these places are still in business?
That's also the other question. It's like, not only in business, ubiquitous. Yes. You almost can't go anywhere on the planet without finding one.
Right.
And you always have similar in the inside. Mm-hmm. Now the only place I know, like for example, McDonald's, you can't find those in Russia.
I know, they pulled out of Russia.
Because we don't like Russia now. Now it's a French company that owns it, and they call them Beautiful Yum or something like
that. Beautiful Yum.
Something like that. But a friend of mine, well, I call him a friend because...
He's on Facebook?
He's on YouTube.
Oh, okay. You watch it a lot, so...
Well, I just watched it once, honestly.
Okay.
A friend of mine went to test it out to see if it tasted any different.
Oh my God.
And he said, it's the same.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
But it's like freedom fries. It's kind of like steering a giant amount of people now I imagine, it's like, well, McDonald's pulled out, obviously.
And Coca-Cola did, didn't they?
I don't know.
Oh, maybe not.
McDonald's pulled out, so yeah, we're probably almost at war with them.
Yeah.
We must hate those. We must hate them. So it's probably like similar to the momentum of.
Funnily enough, that's an interpretation, right? But what I found was that McDonald's, and I've seen it across because I've lived in so many countries and traveled to many countries, and I found that oftentimes McDonald's closes their doors not because they hate the place or because they're at war there, but because they feel vulnerable and scared. So I remember once in Seville, there was going to be this massive peace rally or something, a Greenpeace rally or something big in Seville. And we were walking home, and then suddenly I saw these big boards on a store, like it was completely covered up. And the stores right next to them were perfectly fine, but this one was all boarded up. And the door was tiny in the corner, and it was still open. I'm like, what was in that place? What was going on there, And so I go on to figure out what's going on here, and it's the McDonald's.
All boarded up.
Boarded up. And I'm like, what's going on? Why are you boarded up? Oh, they're having a Greenpeace rally, We have to cover ourselves because they're going to attack us, So it's like, oh. I said, what? These people they're not going to, what are you expecting, it's Greenpeace. They're going to throw stones and break our windows and
because we're destroying the environment, McDonald's or whatever.
Yeah,
they're afraid.
Whatever it is. But I think it was fear. So we might interpret, McDonald's pulled out of Russia because we're going to war, because they're banning Russia and they're blacking them up. But actually, it could be fear. The Russians now hate America, so all our stores are going to get attacked, kind of energy.
Ah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You tapped right through it.
Yeah.
Right up to the top.
Yeah.
Who makes the decision? Those ones are the ones that are afraid.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Interesting.
It's like, who can be afraid of a bunch of Greenpeacers, They were having face painting in the street.
Face painting.
And like little babies and kitties, Whatever. It's the projection, right? Projection. Yeah.
That was something we were dealing with this weekend, was projection.
Projection.
And I believe that if we nail it down, much of this is projection.
Much of what?
The projection of
yummy food at Denny's.
Yummy food at Denny's or whatever. We project this,
stuff.
and project that to there.
Yeah.
Project as in we assign this image to the thing that it isn't.
Right.
Right.
And
then we go along assuming that thing that it isn't is it. It isn't.
And it must be somewhere.
I projected that there. That is there.
Somewhere.
And then you go there, it doesn't match. It doesn't go through here. So like, split, that thing doesn't exist here. No. What goes is this, that is, it must be. It must be.
Somewhere it must exist.
It's gotta be. What? It has to be.
Yeah.
Well, what? It never gets through, right?
Yeah.
Because the projection overpowers the experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh. So I guess we need to be aware of projections, and maybe in the second hour we could go into a little bit more detail about projection.
Yes.
How projection can sometimes lead us astray. It can
projection via programming, right? Or programs.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, in the second hour, I guess we'll find out.
Okay.
What do you think?
I think it's a marvelous idea. Let's do that.
Okay. I'm a little bit. I'm sweating a little bit.
Why?
Because the idea of finding food at Jack in the Box and eating it.
But you're okay trying Denny's again?
Well, just the one.
One more.
Just the one, not anyone.
Okay.
We're not going randomly to anyone ever.
Okay.
We will pull into the parking lot, perhaps, but we're going to scan the experience after. The experience of has to match the image in.
Yes.
If those match, we'll go give it a go.
Okay.
Otherwise, forget about it.
Forget about it. Got it.
Okay.
Okay.
Love you, honey.
Love you too.